Okay, good morning, everybody. Hope you can hear me. So, while I'm setting up this dummy with the spring arms, my job has really been messing with my time because in California you have to have something called a COE, a Certificate of Eligibility, to work around firearms and ammunition. Two guys at our job forgot to renew their COEs. And they say you have to do it 45 days before it's about to expire. So I've been getting crazy schedules. Sometimes closing at night at the range and then opening up the next day. So it's actually messed with my being able to do classes. So I'm going to do something real quick today, and I'll do something tomorrow. Eventually the schedule will get back to normal. Okay? So I want to use the spring arms to show a few things. So I'm going to first do it as though these were wooden arms. So the first thing is to get the knee up, touch, lao sao, circle around, and then touch one arm and go to the other arm. I hope this is a good angle. Okay? But with the spring arms, I touch and just go move this arm over. So I'll do that again and just move this left arm over. It's really my opponent's right arm. So I move it over. Then I check before it springs back. I check and then hit. And before it springs back, I do the Hyun Sao. But if you do it on a spring arm, if you don't get this exactly right, it's going to pop back at you. So I mentioned that to Sifu a while back, not using a spring arm, just using a regular arm, and it was kind of slippery, so my hand slipped off. So he said you could do from here, do a lop instead of that Hyun with the kick. You could do a lop and kick with one hand, or you can also do a double lop. But let me get through this first. So from here, move around, strike. I'm going to do it the regular way. Hit, okay. Hit, bong. Instead of stepping to the side to do that, the opponent's going to pull his arm back, so you're going to step in. So I'm moving this arm over. So when you do set one on the jong, you're fighting against a southpaw. You should also train it on the other side. So what I've been doing in my private lessons is teaching people set one on the left side against a southpaw, and then set one against an orthodox fighter. So doing that. So I've been teaching sets 1 and 2, left and right. That's not the official way, of course, but that's what we're doing here. Because you have to be able to fight both sides. So there's another thing I want to talk about. If I touch and go around, that means my opponent has punched and left his arm out, which is not going to happen. This may have worked against fighting styles years ago when they did long strikes, northern styles or some other styles, like maybe even in Hung Gar they have these long strikes. So modern fighters will strike and pull back. So forget the leg here. I touch his arm, he pulls back, I just follow straight in. That's probably what's going to happen with modern fighters. You're not going to be able to do this and circle around because he's not going to leave his arm back. He's going to punch, pull back, and probably throw another arm. So what will be happening here is I would do this and grab his other arm. So he's punched. As he pulls back, I follow. Remember the Wing Chun tenet? Stay with what comes, follow what goes. Show you on this side. Now if this arm were to go back, I stay with what comes, follow what goes. Okay? So he's thrown his right arm, because he's a southpaw, and then I grab his left arm, because he's done this. 1, 2. So you have to use a little imagery with the jong. A lot of the things in the Jong don't translate exactly into real fighting, of course, because it's a static device, and also because it's based on the fighting styles of that era. So you have to kind of adjust, make some adjustments for modern fighters. So we're going to do that one more time. Here, I'm going to do the circle around. Check. And instead of doing this, where the arm may slip off, now if I had the longer arms and did that, it would hit me in the face. These shorter arms won't reach me. But if I put these arms and it slipped off, this would hit me right in my face. So that's why I'd recommend doing a lot instead of the full Kyun Sao, okay? So once more. So there's another thing. When you do it with the wooden arms, your lansao, if you look at my zipper, your lansao's not in the center because the arms go out like this. So your lan should be in the center. You can't do it in the center with these arms. But on this one, I can move it to make my lan in the right position. So that's why I like these spring arms. So remember, some of your positions will be off using those wooden arms. It would be a good investment to order some of these because these will fit in any Jong. These tenons will fit in any Jong mortise. And if you're not sure, you can measure your mortises and send it to John Bajika, who makes these, and he can make it so it fits. This is so it fits. This has changed my whole idea of the wooden dummy. It's made things more realistic. So that's one of the things I wanted to teach you about. Okay, so from here, Bong Sao, normally we step to the side and do that. Now that's good if you notice this Jong has a cutout here, you can see. So you can mount it on those slats so it slides laterally. So if this Jong were mounted on a wall and I would do this, I could slide it that way. So then I have to chase it and hit again. So that develops my waist, my U-lick. But if the person punches, he's going to pull his hand back. So the guy's punched to my open side, and then I have to do this. You see what I'm doing now? So your tan would be on your central line, and your strike would be on the center line. So that's more realistic for a fighter who's pulling his hands back. So we do that again. I'm going to do a lot this time instead of that. Gang. Now, the guy's punched to my... I'm standing here. This is my open side, of course. That's my closed side. He's throwing a round punch. He pulls his hand back. I follow it in. Okay? I'm not going to do this and turn that way. A fight is chaos. There's too much stuff happening for you to be able to step there. And your goal is to put pressure on the person. So if I do this, I'm not putting pressure on. If I do this, see, I'm putting pressure on him. So as he punches to my open side, as he pulls back, I follow it right in. Bam, hit him. So we're going to add that to your repertoire of doing the Jong. I got a few more minutes to have another private class. So with the wooden arms, say you don't want to invest in that. That's okay, I understand. So after here, when you do the Bong Sao, go to that arm. But you have to be careful that you don't run into this arm. So basically what you're saying is this arm is not here anymore. You've moved it over there. So after the double Gang Sao, I Bong, do that. As opposed to staying on this arm and doing that. And the best way to test that out is do it against a person punching at you. And you'll see that if he punches, for you to do this, he's going to push you off balance because you've already stepped to the side. Whereas if you do this and put pressure back on the person, you have a better chance to win. You can't win all the time by defensively. The best way to win a fight is attack, 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 attack. Okay? So, once more. Here. Circle around. That's the traditional way. And then strike. Now, when you strike on the wooden dummy with the wooden arms, you're going to be like this. Actually, you should be striking over this hand because I'm checking his arm and hitting. Let me take this arm so you can see. So I've done this. See how my right arm is over my left? With the wooden arms, you're going to be between because the arms don't move. So even though you do this with the wooden arms, remember that's not the real way it's done. It's this way. So if I use one arm, okay, like that. I'm going to do more tomorrow morning. I have to get ready for a class. And thank you guys for being patient. I haven't been doing many classes. I haven't worked for like 10 years for anyone. And working at this range is real physical work, so I've been coming home beat. But it's good though, because it's building me up, so I'll be able to do more classes a week. All right, take care, everybody. Looks like there's a lot of shadow here. All right, so I put the 18-inch long arms on the top. I didn't put the long arm here in the middle because I wanted to try to demonstrate something. So let's say you had the flexible arms, and I can show you some workarounds, things that you can't do with the wooden arms. So remember, when you start the dummy form, you're fighting against the left-handed fighter. So I'm going to start off in a left side neutral stance. You can start off in a front stance. Circle around, check, hit. Now you can do the Hyun-Sao or double lop. So I'm going to do the double lop and stop, kick to the knee. Gang-Sao. Notice how I moved back. I slid back to my opponent's wrist. Ong-Sao. I step in like this. So my strike is in the center line. My ton's on my central line. So I have to step back now. So the person punches. I follow his arm back. He throws another punch. So he throws the punch. I step in and strike. He throws the other arm. I step back to cover. So let's analyze that. I've done the double Gang-Sao. I didn't bring the longer arm out because I can't step in close. And I'm going to need to step in close to show you something else. So I do this. I do the bone. And instead of releasing tan, see, if I do it the releasing way, the tan's in the center line and my strike's on the center line. If I do it offensive, the tan's in the central line, the strike's in the center line. So I'm in this close. He punches, I step back. Now see, it almost hit me. I had to step back. So when I do this, if I make contact with his arm, I bring it up here. If there's nothing here, I still bring it up. I pin his arm together. So now remember, when you're doing this on the jong, that's really one arm. So I'm going to show you that now. So let's start from here. I go from here, one arm. Even though I have two here, it's really one arm. And I circle around, check, and hit. So when you do this gong, it's this. And circle around. So I'm doing an attacking tan, and I step back and hit, and then do the arm break. So after here, I step in, I step back, pin his arms together. Now if he pulls it back too fast, I would just check and hit. So watch. If he pulls his arm fast, I'm not going to have a chance to do that Hyun. So more than likely, you're not going to do that Hyun because he's going to pull his arm back fast. I just do this, check and hit. So I'm going to go Gan here, check and hit on the jong. But the form shows the Hyun with the right hand if you do it on that side. And it would be the left hand on the other side. So I do the Gang, pin his arm. If he pulls it back fast, I check, cover the line and hit. Okay? So that's one thing I wanted to show you on the jong. So the other thing I was going to show is these double poks. Now, if I had the long arm here, I couldn't step in closer. So actually, I don't even need this right now. So, we're normally taught pak, here, jut across, Hyun-Sao, lap-sao, hit. So, that would work if I did this and stepped back, Hyun-Sao. Okay? But if my back was against the wall and I couldn't step back, my opponent is not trying to hit me here. He's trying to hit me here. So let me use this arm since it's a little bit higher. And I need that arm. So I got an opponent punching deep to hit me here. So if I do this jut, I'm helping myself get hit. So what I do is I pock up, slide up my arm, turn, pock over my head, Shunsao, lop, and then hit. So you got to remember, the guy's going to step in and punch. Say he's punching to my cheekbone or my jaw. So his fist is going to be here, right? So if I do this, his intent is to do this. So I want to stop that. So I do this, slide up my own arm, take it over my head, Shunsao up the middle, lop, and then with this spring on I'm going to have to get this quickly, otherwise it's going to pop back and hit me. So here, and then hit. And Sifu Hassan does it with rattan rods. I give him big props. I'm not doing that. Because if you get hit with that, this would hurt, but that would really hurt. Okay? So, you're doing pock. I'm too far away now. Pock, pock, over my head. And I haven't moved. So, the person's plane of attack or line of attack, if he's doing a hook punch or a round punch, if he's doing it level to the ground, he's trying to hit you here. So he's doing this. So what you do to his punch is you make it go up. He doesn't know that's happening because his intent is to do this. All of a sudden he notices this. His hand has gone up and you throw him off balance. So, pock. Pock. Here, turn. Cover that line. Hit, strike from a side neutral stance. If you're in a front stance, pock, pock. See the difference if you're in a front stance? So, pock, I would be pocking the other arm. Bring this up, bring it over, Shunsao, side palm and hit, check, and hit using the hip. Okay? No, I don't think you guys can see me good here. So I'm going to do something tomorrow morning.